Do you want to know what makes older people who like being alone unique? Read these 9 amazing things about them to see for yourself why they are so inspiring. Watch the video all the way through to find out how these traits can improve your life and what being alone can teach you. You shouldn't miss this interesting investigation. Before we begin, I hope you'll stay with me until the end, because I'll be sharing one perspective that has helped many people find peace in the middle of life's changes. If you're ready for gentle growth, please like, subscribe, and press the bell icon so you're always part of these heartfelt conversations. And if you're listening, share this in the comments. I welcome change with grace. Your words have power, and they may just inspire someone else today. Now let's begin. It is very important to know who you are inside and out. People over 50 who spend a lot of time by themselves are often very self-aware, which I find interesting. In general, these people have been learning a lot about themselves for a long time by thinking about their lives and learning about their strengths and weaknesses. They finally know who they are on a deep and real level after going through this ordeal. They have a strong sense of self-confidence that never wavers because they are more in touch with themselves. Unlike most people who look for approval from others to boost their self-esteem, these people have built up an inner confidence that doesn't depend on what other people think. As an example, I remember very clearly a meeting I had with Margaret, a retired teacher who is 70 years old. She told me that her time by herself was more than just time for herself. It was a chance to learn a lot about who she was. She called the time she spent by herself a sacred space where she could explore her deepest hopes, dreams, and desires. Margaret could not wait to talk about how writing in a journal and meditating had helped her become more self-aware. She learned about complicated parts of her personality that she hadn't known about before she did these things. She was very self-aware because of how calm and collected she was, and how much wisdom she shared. The second is complete freedom. An older person who finds comfort in being alone often shows a lot of independence. Over time, they've learned to rely on themselves and their skills to get through tough times, which has made them gradually more independent. They have strong and flexible problem-solving skills because they have been independent for a long time, which isn't just a choice. They can now handle situations and make decisions on their own better, without always needing help or approval from others. You should look into my neighbor John. This sense of independence is shown by John, a man in his late 60s who has lost his wife. He can do things on his own now that he likes being alone. He is very efficient in every part of running his household, from keeping it clean to keeping a close eye on his money. In addition to the everyday, his independence shows in his desire to travel alone in search of new experiences. John's trips to uncharted territories that aren't just vacation spots give him happiness and help him grow as a person. His vivid, full of excitement, and sure of himself descriptions of these trips show that he can face new situations head-on. John's story shows how taking control of your life and living it on your own terms can lead to wonderful experiences. In addition, it shows that solitude can be a powerful tool for self-reflection and growth if you approach it with confidence. Third, the desire to be creative. Being alone often sparks creativity. Many older people who enjoy being by themselves find that they are more creative when they are by themselves. This alone time gives them a safe place to be and do things like painting, writing, gardening, or making things. Without the interruptions and distractions of everyday life, the peace and quiet time lets their minds wander and explore, which leads to the creation of amazing works of art and projects that deeply inspire people. Take the life of Mary, an artist who is 80 years old and whose work shows how important it is to be alone when you're making art. For Mary, painting is a deep source of happiness and has been a constant passion in her life. Her house is like a colorful art gallery that she made herself, with her expressive and colorful art all over the walls. Each painting shows a different part of her mind, showing her feelings, experiences, and thoughts. Mary once told me that some of her most important and moving pieces came to her when she was by herself. During these quiet times, she can focus on her creative process without being distracted by other people's needs. These times when she is by herself are when her art really comes to life, filled with the depth and richness of her thoughts. Her story shows that being alone can be very good for creativity, letting people make things with honesty and passion. The fourth thing is a rich inner life. People in their later years who find comfort and peace in being alone often have a very full inner life. This time alone gives them the chance to think deeply, look inside themselves, and reflect on things. By doing these things, they can develop a deep and complex understanding of the world around them. Their inner world is often very rich, and it shows in the conversations they have, because they bring unique points of view and deep reflections shaped by their many personal experiences. Let's look at my visits to Clara, an 85-year-old retired librarian who loves being by herself. Clara's house is full of books from all different types of genres and time periods, which shows how much she has loved reading her whole life. Every time I see Clara, I learn something new about her deep, complicated life. She has an idea or story for almost every book she owns. Her ability to make connections between literary themes and stories and real-life events makes for conversations that are both intellectually stimulating and deeply enlightening. Clara discusses the lessons she's learned from her books, not just their content. In her reflections, she often mixes parts of her journey with historical background and philosophical thoughts. Because she has a lot of knowledge and experience, every time I talk to her, I learn something new. Clara is a fascinating conversationalist because she can connect literature to her own life, and her deep inner life is a treasure trove of knowledge and insight. Every conversation I have with Clara reminds me that if I can accept my solitude, I can have a life full of depth and understanding. Fifth, be able to handle your emotions. People who are older and enjoy being alone often have a lot of emotional strength. They've learned over the course of their lives how to deal with stress, sadness, and loneliness in healthy ways by learning how to process and control their emotions on their own. This emotional strength shows that they can handle the problems that come up in life with grace and honor. Take my 75-year-old friend, Robert, as an example of someone who has been through a lot and still managed to bounce back. Robert went through a time of deep grief and being alone after the death of his wife. Instead of giving up and giving in to despair, he chose to find comfort in nature. He would hike for hours through the peaceful landscapes, letting nature be the background for his time of reflection and healing. Robert found peace within himself through these walks by himself, which showed how strong he is on the inside and how well he can deal with problems. His journey through grief and subsequent emotional recovery shows how strong he is and how he can find peace and balance in the midst of personal turmoil. Please leave the first comment below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me and that you think these lessons are helpful. Thanks for your time. Number 6, being thankful and happy. People who are older often feel deeply grateful and content when they are alone. People who enjoy being alone often develop a deep appreciation for the simple things in life. A beautiful sunset, the pages of a well-loved book, or the warmth of a comforting cup of tea are everyday things that bring them a lot of joy. This ability to enjoy the little things gives people a rare and admirable sense of happiness. I remember very clearly a conversation I had with Elena, a retired nurse in her late 70s, who is a great example of this attitude. Elena told me that her morning walks have become a very important part of her life. She walks around her neighborhood and listens to the peaceful sounds of birds and watches the world slowly come to life. For Elena, these seemingly normal events bring her great joy and make her think. The way she feels about these simple things makes me think of how powerful mindfulness and living in the present can be. An important lesson I learned from Elena is how to be happy in the present moment. It has made me slow down, stop, and really enjoy the beauty that is all around me every day. From my point of view, her view makes me happier and reminds us all of how rich life can be in the simple things we do every day. The seventh thing is empathy and compassion. A huge number of older people who enjoy being alone have a deep sense of empathy and compassion. They often use the time they spend alone to think about their lives and gain a deep understanding of how people feel and interact with each other. This time to think about themselves helps them develop a stronger empathy, which makes them great listeners and deeply caring friends. Helen, an 82-year-old retired social worker, is a great example of how being alone can help you understand other people better. Helen tends to be quiet, but her heart is full of compassion. She gives her time to volunteering at a nearby shelter, where she is a source of hope for people who are in need. Helen's days are full of giving comfort, listening, and saying nice things to people who are going through hard times. Many people's lives have been changed deeply by her ability to connect with them on an emotional level. This has made her a very loved and respected figure in our community. Helen's story shows that being alone can not only help you understand other people better, but it can also make it easier to show real compassion and empathy. What she did with her life shows that spending time by yourself can help you develop the qualities that make a real difference in other people's lives. Eighth, have a strong sense of what is right and wrong. One of the best things about older people who enjoy being alone is that they have a strong sense of boundaries. Over the years, they've learned how important it is to set and stick to personal limits in order to keep their peace and health. To have this skill, they need to be able to set clear boundaries and have the courage to stick to them, protecting their mental health and personal space. They live a more balanced and satisfying life by putting their needs first and choosing wisely where to spend their time and energy. As an example, take my Aunt Betrick, who is 73 years old and sets boundaries with great skill. When Beatrice needs time to herself to recharge, she has gotten better at knowing when to say no. When she turns down invitations or requests, she does so with grace, confidence, and not a hint of guilt. Being aware of and meeting her own needs is an important part of self-care that she knows is important for her own self-respect. Setting limits for herself has not only improved Beatrice's health, but also helped her keep relationships that are important to her. Her firm but kind approach makes sure that she keeps her personal space while also building deeply satisfying relationships and respectful for both parties. Her behavior taught me a powerful lesson about how to take care of myself and how clear, well-kept boundaries can improve my overall quality of life. Through her actions, Beatrice shows how setting and sticking to personal limits can make your life healthier and more balanced. She also teaches us how to keep our peace while making connections that matter. Number 9. A deeper appreciation for relationships. Many people think that older people who enjoy being alone are not social, but the opposite is true. These people often value their relationships more than others do. These people know that quality connections are more important than quantity when it comes to making meaningful connections. Their relationships are very important to them, and they care for and nurture these bonds with a lot of love. Your time alone gives them a chance to recharge, which in turn makes their interactions with others more meaningful and satisfying. As an example, my Uncle David is a great example of this dynamic. At age 78, David loves the peace and quiet of his evenings at home, but he also values his close group of friends very much. When he does spend time with them, he is fully present and involved, which makes every moment very special. It's impressive and inspiring how well he can balance being alone and being around other people. David's way of doing things shows how solitude can be a powerful way to make social connections stronger. It's important to recognize and celebrate these great traits in people who love their alone time or know someone who does. People over 50 who like being alone bring a special mix of wisdom, creativity, and emotional depth to the world. They are emotionally strong and able to make real connections because they can balance being alone with having meaningful interactions with other people. So, whether you find comfort in being alone or admire someone who does, remember to value these traits. Being alone or isolated is not what solitude means. Instead, it means finding inner peace and appreciating the beauty of your presence. Take a moment to think about these wonderful things about yourself the next time you have some time to yourself and enjoy a quiet moment. Accept that you are different. Enjoy your alone time and know that your qualities are not only admirable, but also deeply inspiring. Thank you for spending part of your day with us. If this message is, we're so grateful you were here today. If something you heard today sparked hope or new thinking, please subscribe and tap the bell so we can continue walking this journey together. Want to send a signal to the universe? Drop this in the comments. My story isn't over. It's just getting better. Every word holds power, and yours are no exception. Wishing you peace, strength, and endless inspiration. And here's something powerful. Share this video with 5 people you care about. It's believed that when we pass on uplifting messages, we spread universal energy that can strengthen hearts, bring peace, and even help us all live longer, more joyful lives.